What is also particularly interesting is I've gotten lots and lots and lots of I call it a tsunami, a tidal wave of COVID articles. The problem is most of them are reporting stuff that's already been on the internet several weeks earlier. And every day I'm on the internet following what Dr. Fauci is telling people, following a lot of the press reports of articles that have been submitted for publication, but have not yet been published. For example, a very courageous pathology group at Mount Sinai in New York, where of course they had several thousand patients with COVID over the peak of the New York epidemic. They have done careful autopsy in these patients, and what they've discovered is very interesting, that the pathology or the pathophysiology is different from influenza. So influenza, the viruses get into the cells and they cause havoc and they kill cells. What's happening here is, in fact, the virus is getting into the endothelium, that is the lining of the small blood vessels, and causing these small blood vessels to clot. And so that then, of course, impairs the blood flow and nutrient and oxygen flow into the tissues. But it isn't so much that the virus is killing the cells, it's damaging the blood flow supply at the microscopic level. So we've had a number of patients who had abnormal EKGs where we thought, oh, this person's having a heart attack on top of their COVID. We take them to the cath lab, and what we see is that the main arteries are open, but we're not seeing the normal blush of contrast of dye into the tissues that we normally see. It's because there's blockage down in the small blood vessels, and that's what's causing the damage in the heart, in the kidneys, in the brain, and elsewhere. It's a unique pathophysiology. Of course, we've seen small vessel disease before in patients, for example, with SLE, lupus erythematosus, but it's also a very different kind of small vessel disease and not, of course, so acute and not so destructive.